March 6, 1945, Cologne Cathedral Square, Germany. It was 3:47 p.m. Feldwebel Karl Hoffmann, a veteran Panther tank gunner, pressed his eye against the cracked periscope, scanning the rubble-strewn street. For 3 years, he had memorized every American tank silhouette, from the flimsy Stuarts to the high-riding Shermans, whose 75mm gun they dismissed as a pop gun. He knew they couldn't penetrate a Tiger's frontal armor beyond 500 meters. But the machine that was emerging from the ruins was something else entirely. "Das ist kein Sherman," he whispered into the intercom, the tremor in his voice betraying a profound professional shock. "That's not a Sherman." He saw the massive gun barrel, longer and thicker than any he had ever encountered. The hull sat lower, more angular, and the turret was enormous, almost disproportionate, like an anti-aircraft cannon had been forced onto a tank chassis. His mind raced through recognition charts and intelligence briefings, but nothing matched. In exactly 18 seconds, Karl Hoffmann and his crew would become among the first German tankers in history to discover that the Americans had finally built something that could kill them at any range from any angle. The machine was the M26 Pershing, and its combat debuts signaled the collapse of every tactical and psychological assumption the German High Command had relied upon since the Blitzkrieg. The destruction of Hoffmann's Panther was the culmination of 2 years of painful strategic reckoning for the U.S. Army, who had endured a devastating disparity between the reliable but outgunned Sherman and the powerful German Tigers and Panthers. The Pershing was the answer, a heavy tank built around a high-velocity 90mm M3 gun capable of penetrating the frontal armor of a Panther. Its appearance, held back by political and industrial delays, was hastened by the critical Zebra mission in late 1944. Its arrival was kept secret, ensuring the German High Command never received a comprehensive briefing. Just seconds before Hoffmann's final realization, a Panther commanded by Lieutenant Wilhelm Bartelbuhr had rolled into the square. The Pershing, commanded by Sergeant Robert Early of the 3rd Armored Division, fired a single 90mm round. The shell penetrated the turret ring, igniting the main ammunition stowage. The resulting massive explosion blew the turret completely off the Panther's hull, sending the 7-ton structure 30 feet into the air before it landed upside down. This singular, decisive act shattered German certainty. The final blow to Hoffmann came moments later, when another Pershing, commanded by Sergeant J.C. Irwin, appeared and ended the 2nd Panther. Though only around 20 Pershings saw combat in Europe, their impact was entirely psychological. The sight of that massive gun and the immediate one-shot destruction of a German tank broke the spirit of the German armored forces. The hunters had become the hunted. The M26 Pershing was not just a weapon, it was the final, devastating proof that American engineering had caught up, contributing to the psychological collapse that helped end the war in Europe. But the collapse of Axis doctrine had begun much earlier and in far more terrifying ways. It was December 16, 1944, the opening of the Battle of the Bulge, when Sergeant Major Klaus Rietzsche of the 12th SS Panzer Division watched his men near crinkled Germany obliterated by artillery that refused to hit the ground. The shells were exploding 20 feet above their heads, raining lethal shrapnel straight down into their foxholes. Rietzsche recorded that the few survivors could only repeat one phrase, "Die Luft tötet," the air kills. This was the combat debut of the proximity fuse, a miniature radar device in the shell nose that automatically detonated above the target. It was a weapon that thought, and its introduction instantly increased the effectiveness of Allied artillery by 1,000%, rendering German entrenchments obsolete, and signaling a new age of technological warfare. In the Pacific, the systematic destruction of Japanese air power was equally conclusive. Lieutenant Commander Saburo Sakai laughed when intelligence reports in 1943 described the new American carrier fighter, the F-6 Hellcat, as heavy as a bomber and weighing twice as much as the nimble Zero. Sakai and his comrades dismissed the weight and armor as signs of weakness, a clumsy target for the Zero's agility. They did not understand that every extra pound represented the industrial might of a democracy that could afford to protect its pilots. The Hellcat was built around the massive Pratt & Whitney R2800 double Wasp engine, generating 2,000 horsepower. Its operational doctrine, known as energy fighting, prioritized speed and altitude over turning ability. It simply used its immense power to climb away from the Zero and dropped onto its tail. Its 212 pounds of armor and self-sealing fuel tanks allowed it to absorb punishment and fly away, while its 6 50-caliber machine guns delivered a devastating volume of fire that the Zero could not match. This superiority led to the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot at the Battle of the Philippine Sea, where the Hellcat achieved a 19-to-1 kill ratio, destroying 346 Japanese planes in a single day. The Hellcat hadn't just defeated the Zero, it had destroyed an entire philosophy of warfare, proving that the nation that could build the better system would destroy the nation that could only build better warriors. This systematic American advantage was also driven by unauthorized radical innovation. Earlier in 1943, Captain Paul Irvin Gunn, fighting a personal war to free his family from a Japanese prison camp, recognized that the B-25 Mitchell bomber was ineffective at low level. Violating every Army Air Force regulation, Gunn and his crew stripped out the bombardier's glass nose and replaced it with a solid metal shroud mounting 8 forward-firing 50-caliber machine guns. This illegal gunship, the B-25 Strafer, enabled the devastating skip bombing attacks that annihilated an entire Japanese convoy at the Battle of the Bismarck Sea. Gunn's illegal modification, born from desperation and fury, achieved strategic effects, proving that American ingenuity was decentralized and relentless.
Furthermore, the American M4 Sherman was defeating German armor with a consistency the Germans refused to understand. A captured M4A1 Sherman, nicknamed War Daddy II, was shipped to the German testing facility at Kummersdorf in 1943. German engineers, accustomed to the complex, maintenance-intensive designs of their Panthers and Tigers, watched in growing unease as this American tank simply refused to break. Driven over 350 kilometers, the engine never overheated, the transmission never failed. This reliability, stemming from decades of American automotive excellence, exposed a fatal flaw in German design philosophy, which prioritized technical specifications over robust, mass-produced dependability. The shock was compounded by the introduction of M93 high-velocity armor-piercing, or HVAP, rounds. These specialized shells, containing a tungsten carbide core, transformed the medium Sherman into an unexpected frontal threat. When HVAP first engaged Panthers at Ericourt, the German crew's confidence in their sloped armor was instantly shattered. The myth of Panther invulnerability was destroyed by material science produced in American factories. The final, decisive synthesis of technology and intelligence was the execution of Operation Vengeance. On April 14, 1943, cryptographers at Pearl Harbor intercepted and decoded the exact travel schedule of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, architect of the Pearl Harbor attack. The precision of Japanese military planning provided the target: exact times, specific aircraft types, and precise routes. This intelligence triggered the longest fighter intercept mission in history. 16 P-38 Lightnings, flying over 1,000 miles to the very edge of their range, intercepted Yamamoto's transport plane over Bougainville on April 18th. The resulting death of Yamamoto and the destruction of his naval strategy proved the ultimate American systemic superiority, combining code-breaking, long-range technology, and exceptional flying skills to achieve the precise elimination of irreplaceable enemy leadership. From the terrifying efficiency of the proximity fuse to the psychological dominance of the Pershing's 90mm gun, the story of World War II is a testament to the power of a flexible, innovative, and overwhelming industrial capacity. The war was won because America was able to protect its soldiers, replace its losses, and innovate faster than its enemies could build. The weapons that killed the air, broke the armor, and swept the skies were not just machines, they were the physical embodiment of a superior system, proving that in modern warfare, the final and most decisive weapon is simply this: the ability to outthink and outproduce your foe.